Yo, what up? I am building a newsletter business and I'm going to give you weekly updates even if I shit the bed. We are on week 7. Let's get cracking. All right, so this is last week's email, chicken piccata. We sent out 9,095, highest open rate and highest click-through rate. Now, this is a bit inflated, and let me tell you why. So if you were here last week, I talked about trimming the list. So I'm going for engagement right now. I'm going over quality versus quantity. And then once I have quality, I'll continue to push more towards quantity. And so let me tell you something I did. There was a list of people who haven't responded to me. So I went to a different ESP because I didn't want to mess up my stats here. I don't want to mess up my stats with Beehive because this is where people start, people who want to sponsor the newsletter are going to be looking at these stats. So if I'm sending an email to people who are non-responsive, I'm going to do that on another ISP that I just don't care about as far as stats go. So you can see something over here where, like, earlier last week I said, hey, if you don't like my stuff, I'm not going to send it to you anymore. And then this was a bunch of random people that I found, hence why this is a terrible open rate. But long story short, this is a bunch of people who had subscribed to the newsletter but never bought a product from the site. If you're wondering how I'm getting these people, I think go back to week 1. It shows you how I'm getting free subscribers at the end of the day. These are a bunch of people who subscribe and never bought a product. So I sent an email to them as well as people who were all on the Beehive list. And I said, look, man, if you want to continue to get newsletters, let me know. And so we had a bunch of responses from people. Let's see if we can find that. The last goodbye, they were saying yes, yes, yes. I told them, hey, if you want, basically I said, hey, if you want my newsletter, say yes. So a bunch of people said yes. These are people that were either adding to or not deleting from the list. And then from the people who said they still want to get the newsletter, so we had 143 out of all this, had 143 people. I sent this email out. So this went out at 10 a.m. Right? The newsletter, the regular newsletter went out at 10 a.m. on Sunday. Follow me here. And then for those new people, I sent another email at 10:30 saying, hey, I sent the email out. It might be in your spam box. Go into it, say you got it, and that will increase the chances of it not landing in your spam inbox anymore. So I had basically, that's what I mean by inflated, where I sent out a second email on another ISP telling people who said they were interested to go find my email, open it, and reply back. Now, here's the thing. Yes, that will help me get out of their spam inbox, but also it just helps with something called domain reputation. So what will happen now is ISPs, whether you have the ISP people like the Beehives and the Campaigners of the world, you also have ISPs like Google, Yahoo, Verizon, whatever, email providers. If they see a bunch of correspondence, like if I send something out and they see people sending stuff back to me and then they see me replying back, then that is a good sign. That shows those ESPs that I'm sending stuff that people like. And so it'll help my domain reputation. Point being, it helps me get in the primary inbox more. That's a long way of saying that. But that correspondence, me sending something out, them replying back, and then me replying back again, that back and forth, that ping-ponging, tells those ESPs that, hey, these people like this, they're engaging with this, put this in their inbox, this is a good guy. So yeah, that again, I wanted to get out of their spam, but also I want to build a domain rep so I can further inbox in the future. So again, this is the highest open rate we've had, the highest click-through rate, but it was somewhat inflated by me sending that email out. Like, I can't say that it was purely content for this. So that was that. And let's look at the performance. So I know, we're sending out for those who don't know, I send out this newsletter and it's really entertainment, right? This last week's story is a story about somebody almost killed himself or whatever. And then that was really heavy, but it was when I send out these stories that I want to make people feel something, whether it's they feel happy or they feel sad, they need to feel an emotion. I'm not just sending out a recipe. If I just send out this recipe by itself, nobody cares, nobody subscribes. But if I put a story here, and again, I go over how I do all this. I think from week 1 I go over all this stuff. But I put a story here. Then I have some interesting articles that they would probably not find elsewhere, and I made a story out of that. And this one was pretty funny. I had a lot of replies about this one. This was this was the 3-date rule. And he's talking to this woman who's recently widowed, and she's basically hoeing it up. I won't go through all the details, but I had a lot of people respond back to the narrative I did with these articles. I didn't just summarize these articles. I made a narrative. Again, I made a story. People felt something and they replied back. They liked it a lot. And then also something new I did last week was I asked for people to refer friends. And so if we look at the performance, really I want to look at the clicks. Again, people care about the recipe. They really care about the recipe. And then the articles didn't get a whole bunch of clicks, but what I do like is all this magic beehive stuff. This is people clicking on the referral stuff. Another magic. So hey, I might get 1 or 2 out of it. That's 1 or 2 people that I wouldn't get if they keep referring these things. And so anyways, that was the review for last week. Let's talk about the changes for this week. All right, so like I said last week, I was trimming the list. I'm trimming the fat because I want people on here who are really engaged. I want my open rate to like shoot up. And I'll do that by getting rid of people who haven't opened in the last 30 days. And so this was at 9,000 last week. I'm at 7,000 because right now Beehive is a pain in the ass when it comes to getting rid of people who are not engaging. If you want to get rid of a chunk of people on your email list and Beehive, they make that shit super hard. You have to go one by one. We have like over 3,000 people we're trying to delete. I had to hire somebody to go one by one to delete these people because Beehive is being a pain in the ass. And it makes sense because Beehive makes its money from the amount of subscribers you have. So they don't want you to lose subscribers because then they'll lose money. But bro, I got people on this list who aren't interacting. They need to go. And so I'm cleaning that up right now. You'll see this drop even more, but then the open rate will go up and the click-through rate will go up just by default. So that's one change that is actively happening. Another change I'm doing this week is I don't have the, this is the newsletter for this week, or that's going out next week actually. So let me pause real quick. I'm showing you the wrong stuff. Hold on. All right, this is the correct week. Sorry, I am like working ahead when it comes to these newsletters because I got a bunch of stuff going on. So it's like I got to work in chunks to get this stuff done. I'll talk more about that here in a second now that I think about it. But the only thing I'm testing this week that's different, it's the same thing. This is going to be an entertaining story. See, I always try to make sure that first line is engaging. So I took a shit and the cops called me, I got the cops called on me. I hope that would get somebody to keep reading. And then again, these are the articles. These talking about scams, talking about smoking weed, talking about sex. I think I'm seeing that this demographic's leaning more towards entertainment. So I have again, this is a cooking newsletter, but I'm noticing that I get the most engagement when I tell stories with these articles, or I have articles that tell stories. And also they're more just entertaining. I was doing travel stuff, but the travel stuff is not getting clicked as much as the entertainment is. And as a result of this, what I did see last week that I didn't talk about last week, I went heavy on sex and drugs. Well, not drugs, really alcohol and weed. I guess it's a drug depending on where you're at. But that I lost like 16 subscribers. So I'm fine with that. I know the tone I'm going to go with this guy, this avatar I'm playing. He's going to be kind of, what's the word, brash or whatever it is. He's going to cuss. He's going to talk about weed. He's going to talk about alcohol. And if you don't like that, then you don't need to be on this newsletter. So I'm trimming the fat when it comes to that as well. I'm going to lean into that. Again, you see right here, we have an article about scams, article about smoking weed, article about sex. There's a narrative behind it. I'm testing an image. I don't usually have images in my emails. I'll just have an image at the end. So when I say by the end, like I'll usually have an image. Let me show you. I'll have one image here. This right here is what Beehive does automatically, but I'd have one image right here. But then this week I'm going to have an image below one of the articles. So what I mean by that is, like, imagine these articles and there'll be an image here for something. I'm going to use that to clarify a point. Let's see how that does. And then I'm going to keep the PS, the whole update thing as well, or the PS trying to get a referral thing as well. And then let me go back to what I was talking about working ahead. I'm at the point where this newsletter thing I'm building, like, this is not making any money. I'm having opportunities to get money, like monetization, ads. Like, these people are asking to advertise on my newsletter. But I mean, look at the expected payout, $23, $28. I'm not going to put ads on my list and possibly piss off subscribers for $28 or $23. I had offers for like 50 something bucks. And that's not it. I'm going to make sure this thing is so engaging that you really need to pay to get on here. So point being, let me go back to the lecture at hand here. This is not something making money right now. It's not. I feel like it's hard to make these videos right now. It's hard doing this. Like, I got a lot of stuff going on, from business to family to even internally working on me. I got a lot of stuff going on. And this right here, from writing all this to even making these videos, is time consuming. And it makes me be like, man, should I even be doing this? And the fact that I question that actually now at this stage of my life makes me want to lean in. I know you're still seeing my screen, so let me wrap this up because this will be pretty boring if I don't get off my soapbox. My point is, I'm at the point where I'm learning in life that if I don't question something, like question my ability to do something, then I'm probably not pushing myself hard enough. And I'm at the stage right now where I'm questioning my ability to do this newsletter and questioning my ability to even keep making these videos. And the fact that I'm questioning that tells me, oh shit, actually it's time to lean into this. So I could go down the rabbit hole with that. That's not why you guys came. I will be back next week with updates on how this newsletter performs. I appreciate you watching my rant. I'll holler at you. Peace.